Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm gonna share one of my favorite poke recipes. And for those of you guys who are like, wait, didn't you already do this on JK Party? Well, this one's different because over the years I've made a lot of little adjustments and I think that I have the best recipe down now. It's been fine-tuned over the past, I would say maybe even 15 years. So I learned this recipe from my buddy's dad, who is 5th generation Japanese from Hawaii, and it is a family recipe that has been passed down from Hawaiian Japanese to Hawaiian Japanese to Hawaiian Japanese down to a random Chinese guy. And I am so grateful to have learned it from them. So shout outs to the Yanamuras if you guys are watching out there. But these are the ingredients that you need. So we start off with a sweet Maui onion, and not every supermarket has this, but it's really important to get an onion with some sort of sweet onion so that it doesn't have that crazy onion bite. You want something that's like a more mellower flavor. Also, serrano chilies. These guys go a long way. So I think the Japanese myth on these is 1 out of 3 is spicy. So I'll usually chop up a couple and I'll taste test it because it will drastically alter your recipe. So I only got 2 of them. Then I got green onion, aka scallions, and I got a bunch of sashimi grade tuna. Now this is really important if you're making poke. My dad, who's ghetto as hell, used to go to Costco and just buy like big ass steaks of salmon and he'll slice it up and he goes, I'm eating sashimi at home. I'm like, no dad, you're eating garbage. The texture from sashimi grade fish is way different than when you buy fish steak that is made to be grilled, because there's all the tendons and sinew and like scales and all that stuff. Like these guys, you could see how soft it is, right? Like when you cut it up, you're not gonna have a bunch of sinew and tendons that locks it together. And then over here are my seasonings. I got ginger paste. This is actually way easier to use, so I've been a big fan of this compared to actual block ginger. Block ginger is way more aromatic and that does give you like a really nice fresh taste. But this guy I love because I use ginger in all of my cooking and it stores longer and I don't have to grate it or anything. It just comes out of a tube. Got some sesame oil. This acts as 2 things. One, it acts as a flavor, but it also acts as a thickener to bind everything together so it can stick on the fish. And then also some soy sauce. If you're one of those lucky guys that have access to like aloha, shoyu, or any of the authentic Hawaiian ingredients, go ahead and get that. But I live in the middle of like Eastern LA and this is the best that I can do. And then you got some sugar. And sugar, you want sugar to taste. Some people like their poke a little bit sweeter. Some of them like it less sweet. So you want to make sure you adjust it to how you like it. So I've done this recipe so many times and I've made it for small amounts, I've made it for big amounts. And back in the day, I used to just start cutting up the fish in cubes, throw it in the bowl and just season it direct. And then I realized that that's how I was kind of messing up the flavoring sometimes because I wasn't able to custom adjust the sauce base by itself. So now I go the opposite route where I cut up everything and I have everything put in the bowl and I mix it. And once it's perfect, then I cube up the fish and then I throw it in there, which is really cool too because it allows the fish to kind of come down a little bit, slightly to room temperature. You don't want it to be completely room temperature, but it comes down a little bit and it makes it a little bit more absorbent of the flavor. So my first step is to cut up a handful of the green onions to match the amount of fish that I'm gonna have. So I really like poke because I grew up vegetarian. So even eating steaks or anything outside of a plant-based diet was actually really difficult for me. So going out with my friends in high school, I would see people order sushi and I'm just like, I wanna try it, but it just feels so weird. Like almost any animal product that was still in the shape of the animal felt weird. Like chicken nuggets was okay. And I remember hanging out at my friend's house and his dad just came back from a fishing trip and he made poke and I was able to eat it because it was just way more covered up. There was sauce. So I think that really helped open up my appetite to eating sushi and sashimi and all the other stuff. and having friends that were Hawaiian, Japanese, and just seeing their culture, it always made me feel like I really want to go to Hawaii. And so every time that I'm able to make poke and I eat it with a warm bed of white rice, it just feels like I'm that much closer to Hawaii, which is one of my favorite places to go in the world. Oh man, you know, when I go to Hawaii, I shut my brain off like crazy. And we got so many good friends that know about Hawaii. So I don't even know the actual places that we're going to, but there was this one place. It's almost like a fish market and they have poke in the front. There's so many good poke spots out there. One of the things that I realized over the years too is cutting the serrano chilies a little bit thinner actually makes it taste better, because although it's not that spicy, but when it's too big of a chunk and when you take a bite, like the mouth feel, having fish and all of a sudden having a big pepper taste in your mouth, it kind of throws it off. So I do like having it way thinner now, because then it just kind of soaks up the rest of the sauce and it just makes it way more palatable. So I'll do maybe a palm-sized handful for this amount of fish. So I'm almost there. And you could also adjust it for how much spice you like. So for me, I just do like a handful because it's not really a spicy chili. It's not like a jalapeno or a habanero. So remember what I was saying about that myth about like 1 in 3 serrano chilies? I think I was talking about shishito peppers. It's the one with the wrinkles in it. I think that one is like 1 in 3 or 1 or 6 or something. Now it's time to cut up the onion.
How much onion do you want?
Just a handful. So one thing I also realized too with onions, especially with people that don't like onion that much, like since I'm also making this for me and Gio, people that don't like onion that much, they don't want a pow onion in your mouth. So the cool thing about being able to make poke at home is you can adjust it. So with this one, I'll make it thinner so that when people are eating it, it's also not a giant piece of onion that just blasts them. Onions. All right, now to throw down some of the seasoning. You always gotta check the expiration date. At least you know I didn't steal it. Paid. A little bit of that. About a tablespoon of this ginger paste. Ooh, gotta buy another one. About a tablespoon of sugar. And this is just my starting points, because I will taste it once I throw everything else in and then do some fine tuning. And then just this is a professional culinary term. It's called a circle of sesame oil. That. And then mix it all together. It smells really good already. I think it's a good flavor actually. At first it tasted like it was too much ginger. And then I tasted another piece and it was a little bit more even. I'm glad I didn't add too much sesame oil, because sesame oil is one of those flavors that's so unique. Once you throw it in there, it can taste really nutty really fast. Pretty good. I don't think I'm gonna change it. So I'll leave this as is. So the order I like to throw things in is I go onions and serrano peppers first, because these green onions, since they're so thin, the minute you start stirring it too much, they get mutilated fast. And that's what I've noticed for, at least in terms of presentation, it ruins the look of it. The flavor is the same, but they just don't look as cool. And since these guys are spicy, because I did taste test it, I'll probably just use half. So it looks like now I probably need to put in a little bit more sauce. There's not gonna be enough for all this fish, so I'm just gonna eyeball it again. So this is what I meant by you gotta adjust to what you have. You know, because sometimes you're making poke for yourself. Sometimes you're making it for 2 people. Sometimes you're making it for 3 people. So I think it's important to, you start with their base, and then from there you adjust it to your liking. And I also see there's some pretty big chunks of onions. So this is when it helps out to have some kitchen shears. And also with the more sauce now, I realize I could probably put in some more onion. So now it's time to cut the fish, and this part's really important because it's all about mouthfeel. So when you have a big piece of fish, then it's just this big wobbly thing in your mouth, and it doesn't really absorb all of the sauce that you just made. But if it's also too thin, it's gonna absorb way too much sauce per fish, and every piece of fish is just gonna taste over flavored. So you want something in the middle. So your goal is to cut it around like 1/2 inch to 1/4 inch pieces. Oh, and this part helps out having a sharp knife, because if you don't, as you cut into the fish, you're just smashing the fish. So it really helps out having a sharp knife, or even sharpening your knife before you cut. So this is about like the perfect size in my opinion. Just like roughly like cubes like this. Little 1/2 inch cubes all around. This is really good. So imagine like this floating around your mouth versus something like this with a little warm bed of rice. And I don't like to just cut it and just throw it in, because depending on how much fish you have, some fish could be over marinated, which you definitely don't want. My favorite thing to do in Hawaii is really just go there, smell the ocean air, hang out on the beach, and just eat good food. Like my ideal Hawaiian day would be wake up, we get some of that bomb-ass papaya with lemon, walk over to the beach, maybe go inside, maybe not, because the water's warm, so it's ready for you to go inside all the time. And then just relaxing on the beach and then swimming around, and once you get hungry, go get some really good food. In my opinion, the best Japanese food in the world is in Hawaii. And the reason why is since they have a huge influx of Japanese people all the time, all the recipes and concepts stay fresh. But what's cool, that's unlike Japan, is that they know the American taste bud and portion size. So you can get big old bowl of noodles, and you're not gonna get like that size ramen or udon in Japan, because everything is more Japanese size. So it's, to me, for an American palate, it's so good. So this is the reason why you want to get sashimi grade fish as much as possible, because even though all of these are from the sashimi section, if you look at this piece versus the amount of sinew that's in this piece, it's a huge difference. So this, when you take a bite, the whole thing is probably just gonna melt in your mouth. This, you're gonna feel these slight tendons. And with sashimi, because of how they slice it, you won't taste the sinew as much. But for poke, since we're not slicing it sashimi style, it's more cubes, you might taste more of it. So that's why when you're even shopping for fish, it helps out to look for ones that already have much less grain. But this is all they had at the fish market, and you have no choice. All right, so now that I have all the fish cut up, this is the moment we've been waiting for, which is putting the fish to the sauce and then putting it away in the fridge for like 30 minutes to 45 minutes. So one thing that kind of sucks is Yeah, there are a lot of poke shops that open up in America now, but none of them are really authentic because a lot of them, they just take fish and none of it's really sashimi grade fish. It's just like the ghetto stuff that my dad would eat. And they would just have like bowls of it, kind of like Subway style in front. And then you put the sauce on afterwards and it's not a pre-marinated fish. If you go to Hawaii, all the fish is pre-marinated and you can't really make adjustments to it. It's like a recipe that has been passed down for many generations and they keep it that way. And the way that they have it in America, it kind of sucks because not only is the sauce like really heavy and too flavorful, I think to cover up the quality, the bad quality of the fish. So it doesn't taste that good. And I've gotten like poke bowls from like certain poke shops. And when I eat it, it doesn't remind me of Hawaii at all. It just reminds me of like a bunch of raw fish with heavy seasoning. And so I don't even call any of those places poke in my opinion. Sorry if any of you guys own one, but you guys know that's not authentic poke either. So technically right now, this isn't even poke yet, but once it's marinated, then it's poke. So now is the time for the final piece and put the green onions in there. What's cool about the green onions too is it just gives it like a color pop. So it just makes it look vibrant and exciting too. Like the peppers do it as well because it's also green, but it just gives it like this nice color. So as you can see, I'm trying to be gentle and not mutilate the green onions because it's so delicate. So after maybe like 2 more mixes, that's it. So I just tasted it and it is missing a little bit of salt. So if you have something like this where it's like a sea salt, go ahead and use it. If not, the regular Morton's works too. But I like using this because it's like has like this fresh salt taste. And coarse salt also absorbs a little bit differently. So now it's time to let it marinate for 30 minutes. I like to do 30 minutes to an hour. Some people like to do it overnight. It really depends on how strong your marinade is and how strong of a flavor that you want. Some people even eat it like right now, but maybe you could do a taste test where you do a small batch off the side and taste it without marinating and then an hour later and see what the taste difference is and see which one is your favorite. For me, over time, I realized I just like it like 30 minutes. All right, it's been half an hour, so now it's ready to serve. And this part also makes a big difference, having some nice and warm, fluffy rice to go with the yummy poke. So, putting a bed of white rice right here. It's good to go with like a Japanese or Korean rice. So it's warm and sticky. And then time to unveil the poke. And we got one lucky customer.
I'm ready. I'm ready. Hurry up.
All right.
Did you try it? Did you taste it?
I tasted it before the marinade. I mean, yeah, before I put it in the fridge to marinate.
Yeah, sure, you can sit down.
Yummy.
You wanna make food?
All right, here you go.
Is that chili?
Oh,
it does. Okay, here we go. Let me get a little bit of everything. I like these shows. I like this segment.
You do?
Mmm.
Spicy?
Oh yeah.
No water?
You wanna try it?
You don't want it?
No, it's just rice. It's not spicy. I like it. This is bomb. You wanna try it? Yeah. Do you wanna try it?
Yeah.
Oh, look.
There's a chili. Do you want the chili?
I don't care.
Here.
Oh, a plate.
It's warm.
White.
I'm cold.
Oh, so white.
It came out really good. I think this is your best one so far.
Really?
Yeah.
Better than the one I made last time?
Yeah. Because the fish was also weird.
Oh, yeah.
This one's good.
See, when I was telling you guys, if you don't get sashimi grade, Even though that one was too, but it just had a ton of sinew in it, and it was just, ugh.
Ton of what?
Sinew, like the tendons, like the white, like meaty part. Like even this has some of it, but I try to cut around it.
Good job. This is bomb.
Hell yeah. Thank you guys for watching. This is my poke recipe. Like 15 years later, mastered. Hopefully you guys try it at home. See if you guys like it. Just don't be opening up no restaurants with my recipe. And if you do, just send me a check and I'll be cool. Okay? All right, see you guys next time. Peace.